welcome to another episode 3 of The Breakdown. I'm Nelson Velasquez.
And I'm Chris Lee.
And we're both cloud solutions architects for BreakFree Solutions, where we work with cross-functional teams in an agile way to help organizations execute their digital initiatives.
Yeah, and what exactly does that mean without a buzzword?
I'll tell you thrice what that means. What that means is that when it comes to DevOps, it comes to cloud, coming up with digital products, solutions, machine learning, automation, or trying to figure out whether or not a Kia is worth keeping in your garage or on the street. BreakFree Solutions is a leader in enabling businesses in achieving their goals, and we're here to share how we do it.
That's right. And The Breakdown is BreakFree's new podcast, where we will talk about all of the different things that we do. We're currently in our Agile and Scrum series, and we'll be chatting with Vincent Bolin, a senior solution engineer at BreakFree, about being a cross-functional team member, what he looks for in being a product owner and a Scrum Master, Scrum and Agile ideals that guide his work, and so much more. So what do you say? Let's get started?
Let's get started. Let's bring Vinny up on the screen. Vinny, turn on your camera and wave to the adoring fans that are all out there at this point. I love the fact that you just cheered for yourself. That makes
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, it's not you. It's not going to be us. That's right. So, Vinny, you've been with BreakFree for some time. Can you give us a little bit of background of what brought you to BreakFree and then what you do at BreakFree?
Yeah, so I actually think this February coming up will be 6 years. So I'm kind of a dinosaur here. Yeah, I know. Tell me that. I started off as an associate. Rob gave me a chance. Brad and Mitch have been great, and they kind of coached me up to where I'm at now. Right, a lot of. I want to say I kind of done everything so far, from an associate working on workshops, documentation, all that stuff, all the way up to now actually running some cross-functional teams too for clients. So it's kind of great. I kind of like what I do. Not kind of, I love what I do, actually. Right? Good stuff.
You love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Never so humble.
Yeah. I try to lend a helping hand wherever I can, right? So yeah.
Well, we're super stoked to have you on here. So
yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor. I feel that you guys invited me on, so this is great.
And you're an OG too, right? I mean, you were like what, employee 3, 4, 5? You were here like way from
a
the
while
beginning.
ago. Yeah, I think I started back in 2017. So
yeah. In the before times.
The dark
before
ages.
Times when we were actually in the office. So
oh yeah, that's definitely the dark ages there.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So
executives paying for office space? No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely interested in knowing more about what you've experienced with BreakFree and what you've experienced with different clients and things of that nature. But we got to let the people know more about you, and that's why we're going to kick it off with a game of Hotbox. All right, so this is the way it's going to work. We're going to get a special finite amount of time going here on this fantastic phone here, and you are going to just literally be asked a barrage of questions, and we want you to answer with the first thing that pops in your mind. Vinny, are you ready to play some Hotbox?
I am.
All right, here we go, and begin.
So first question, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
Star Wars.
Nintendo or Sega?
Ooh, Nintendo.
Hip hop or country?
Country.
Fried chicken or grilled?
Grilled.
Movies in the theater, do you miss that or just at home?
At home.
Bluetooth or wired?
Oh. Wired.
Marvel or DC?
DC.
Boston Market or Boston Marathon?
Boston Market.
Big truck or fast car?
Fast car.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
McDonald's or Wendy's?
Wendy's.
Wendy's or Chipotle?
Chipotle.
Chipotle or Taco Bell?
Taco Bell.
See? He beat you to it. He was building the Taco Bell. He knew.
He's like, I'm ready.
If you go back in time and only bring back one of these items from the past, would it be a dot matrix printer, so a BlackBerry phone, or a punch card reader?
Oh, punch card reader.
Yeah.
All right, if you could time travel, you want to time travel to the past or to the future?
Future.
I'm not going to time travel anytime before penicillin or air conditioning.
The Spin Doctors, Jim Blossoms, or Sugar Ray?
Oh God, I'm only 30.
We're talking about the oldies now, right?
You're an OG.
These are now
You should know
oldies.
this one. What was your answer?
Sugar Ray.
Selfie or Elfie?
Elfie. Elfie, all the way.
Should I invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Bitcoin.
And that is our time right there. Big round of
right.
applause for Vinny. For those of you playing along at home, we learned so much. So much about you, Vinny. So that concludes our game of Hotbox. I think it's time for us to get a little serious.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're working as a senior solutions engineer. You have a lot of experience dealing with different teams, dealing with different products, things of that nature. And we have a series of questions that we would like to ask you about your experience and what you can share with other people with regards to Agile and Scrum specifically.
Let's just talk about, right, being a cross-functional team member on a Scrum team. Let's, imagine it's the perfect Scrum team and everything's awesome. Like, what do you look for? Like, what do you value as an engineer, in your product owners and your Scrum masters? Like, what do you think makes them a good product owner or Scrum master?
That's a great question. Specifically for Scrum Master, we'll start there, I guess.
Yeah.
I always thought being on, cross-functional teams, development teams, the Scrum Master always had to have or should have, right, great communication skills. Being able to, communicate with the team, how they're feeling, kind of get out their feelings like in retro, right, to kind of further their agile and Scrum practice, right. Also to going, anything that they have to do outside of the development team that they're on, right. Effective communication, written and oral, right. Getting in front of other teams, getting, relieving those blockers or those impediments or those constraints that, that are hindering our development team to get done, right. I think that's kind of my biggest trait that I look for in a Scrum Master, right? Shout out to the Scrum Master that I have on our team right now. She's awesome. So great communication skills. Yeah.
Represent. Yeah.
So,
All the OGs out there.
yeah.
So you brought up an interesting term, which I rarely hear amongst engineers, which is feelings. And you brought that up. Can you maybe delve a little bit more into how that factors into communication and how that enables your work to be easier whenever you're able to express how you feel about certain things?
Yeah. I feel that when I've fallen into this trap before as well, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like during sprint retros or anything, right? It can be during stand-up or something, and I always want to be the nice guy and I don't want to like talk bad about anyone else, but if something's actually truly like bothering you with the way that something's running, the way that our work is being done, or even another team that you have to rely on to do their work first so then you can complete yours, right? I always think that speaking up and speaking your feelings, right, is way better than kind of not, right? And I basically, the reason why I said that is because I think the great Scrum Masters are able to kind of surface your feelings through conversation, right? That's kind of why I said great communication skills. And if you're not completely on board with stuff like how things are running, right, I always thought that the Scrum Master should actually kind of extract that from you. It's not necessarily like their job to be a therapist, right? But
to tell me, Vinny, why did you tell me what's the first time you felt this?
Yeah. But I dealing with a lot of engineers too over the past years, a lot of them don't talk that much, and express their feelings in that sort of sense. And I always thought it was great for like a Scrum Master to be able to not just a Scrum Master too, but actually the PO can help out in this too, but kind of really getting how they're feeling as of that sprint, or, going forward in future sprints, like maybe we should change things up. And you kind of want everyone to be on the same page, right? And kind of feeling, you don't want anyone to feel down or impaired in any sort of way, right? So, that's kind of on a tangent there, but that was kind of it's kind of how I feel, right?
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about our feelings. No, that makes a lot of sense. I kind of that pinged something in my head too, because we don't really talk about that a lot. I think, and typically, as being previously like an engineer in the trenches, so to speak, you're right. A lot of people don't really talk about that. I feel like sometimes developers, engineers, and stuff might be a little bit hesitant to talk about that because they feel it might directly or indirectly correlate to their performance. But often that's not the case, right? I mean, it's like if there are certain things that we can talk about. Hearing from the team, like, well, what's causing these kind of the low morale, so to speak, right? I just wanted to call out again, just from that. I mean, you mentioned, your current Scrum Master, and that was Bia Domofsky, who was
episode one.
So you can go check that episode out. That was our first one. And she was awesome. She was a really good sport to try it out with us. So that was a lot of fun. You mentioned like relieving blockers. I think that's, a really important part as well. What do you have, like, I guess, what's your preferred kind of system or whatever when it comes to blockers and communicating that to your Scrum Master that, hey, there are blockers external to you? And I guess, like, what's some experience or preferences there?
Yeah. So I've had some real go-getter Scrum Masters, real, like, just bulldogs, right?
Yeah.
And, which is good sometimes. But kind of my experience from that is, just speak up as soon as possible. That's what I usually try to do every time, right? If anything actually happens, even I'm not going to wait till the stand up coming up, right? If something happens during the day and I can't, it's impairing me from actually getting my task done, I'll the Scrum Master immediately, right? And I'll CC the PO on it too, but it's kind of bring it to their attention.
So you talked a lot about the Scrum Master.
Scrum Master. PO. I saw, over my years, like, a good PO from a great PO. Great POs have, great analytical skills, right? They're, we're working in such complex environments and they need to be able to analyze information extremely fast, right? And kind of take the information and obviously make rational decisions. They need to be extremely confident, right? I'll kind of go off on a tangent here. I think that from an organizational standpoint, I always believe that the employees are kind of a direct reflection of the leadership, right? And I chose confident because if the PO is not confident in what they're doing or their decisions that they're making, I think the development team will kind of pick up on that, right? And maybe start to, unfortunately, question the product vision. That's a big no-no. So question that's the whole high level, or even like user stories or features or epics, right? If it's kind of, wishy-washy, it's not a great reflection on the development team. So those two, I think, are the biggest ones. I'd say very collaborative too. I like personally when a PO is directly tied to the development team. And when I say directly tied, I'm saying like maybe they jump in Colo for an hour and they're talking to us, asking us what we're doing, this and that. And then also collaborative in terms of, they got to deal with stakeholders all the time, right? So getting direct requirements from them, customer feedback, all of that stuff, they need to be, really good collaborative.
I was thinking about, product owners, right? You've got, even with Scrum Masters too, sometimes you've got where the product owner is a developer on the team, or even where the Scrum Master is a developer on the team. Have like a preference versus like, comparing sort of if they're like maybe the tech lead on the team is also the product owner versus having like, hey, we got a new product owner from the outside. Here's your new product owner.
Just personal opinion, I always like to keep it all separate, honestly. I like to keep the product owner. And I mean, if they want to jump in development and stuff, that's great, But I kind of like that clear distinction of Scrum Master, product owner, and the development team.
What about for Scrum Master? Is that same thing still hold true?
I like the actual clear cut positions, right?
Okay.
PO, Scrum Master, development team, so forth. Yeah.
Let's talk about being cross-functional. And since you lead cross-functional teams, what are some of the things that you want in the people that you consider for your cross-functional team, the things that you look for, traits, attributes, things of that nature, and how do you transform those who aren't necessarily cross-functional? How do you transform them into becoming a cross-functional?
It's tough, right?
Everything is easy, Vinny. Everything is easy. Okay.
You just gotta believe.
I want everyone on the development team to be as transparent as possible. I don't want people to, for example, and this is, from a technical standpoint, taking on a story and working on it for, I don't know how many days, and they're really just grinding and they can't make it to the finish line, right? I would much rather have them, take a little bit of time to try to figure it out, but speak up sooner than later. But also dedication too. This kind of goes back to what I was talking about before about the product owner and being confident, right? Kind of want full dedication from the team. Everyone on the development team needs to be dedicated to the overall product vision, right? I think we need to, believe in what we're doing, what we're developing. We need to believe that what we are doing is bettering, X, Y, and Z. We're doing it for a reason, right? I love when I'm working on a team with others that are excited to be working on that team, right? They're excited to be a part of the process and are excited to work towards accomplishing, sprint goals or the overall, epic or whatever we're working towards, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main benefits of having, like a fully cross-functional product team, right? Is that you have this product. You're not just there to just sort of turn wheels, you're there to deliver a product, right? And if that product is successful, it's due to your efforts, like special shout outs to the team and stuff like that, right? Yeah. By having this level of transparency when everybody's talking and open and honest, talking about what the challenges are, what the roadblocks are, and all of that kind of stuff, more often, than not, it's not due to technical capabilities of the team members necessarily. Right. It's maybe in that particular thing, they're just not properly suited to that exactly. You may have to shift your team around a little bit or something. But that sort of allows for those that blameless post-mortem and all that when something goes wrong, right? It's not due to a person, it's a flaw in the system. Yep. Right. Yeah. So what about with the stories, right? Stories and sprints and all of that kind of stuff. Are you like as a member of the cross-functional team, do you actively write and edit and refine user stories, or is that usually, do you prefer the team to take an active hand in that, or prefer the product owner to basically do it all? Like, what's the preference?
I think everyone should be involved with creating stories. I think it just helps out the whole framework more, right? I don't think just the PO should just be involved. I think everyone should have a hand in the backlog. Yeah.
Well, speaking of writing stories, I think we're going to write our next story by going into our next segment here, which is the Agile Scrum Garth. That's right, Agile Scrum Garth. This is going to be, we're going to put Vinny to the test here.
Oh boy.
Vinny's ability to communicate, to share his feelings, to be able to write stories in his head in a joking manner. We invite you to play along, and this is how it works. If you've ever watched Wayne's World, there's a character named Garth on it, and Garth likes to liken people to other things in a funny, hilarious manner. And we're going to use, for this game, we are going to use people who are directly involved in some of the stuff that we do from a technology perspective. So like CEOs of tech companies or just people who are important in those areas. And I'm going to demonstrate. I'm gonna burn the first one with the demonstration to say I'm gonna ask Vinny, our guest today, to give me a celebrity that he finds someone that he enjoys.
Let's go with Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. So, for example, it might sound something like this. If Brad Pitt was a scientist, he would be Egad Pitt. Or if Brad Pitt was really, really small, he'd be Tad Pitt. Or if Brad Pitt was doing the follow-up record to Michael Jackson's Thriller, he would be Bad Pitt. So that's the whole idea of this game, but we're not going to use Brad Pitt. Instead, we're going to go ahead and use tech CEOs and important people as well. So for our very first one, we're going to go with Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs.
If Steve Jobs quit Apple, he'd be Leave Jobs.
If Steve Jobs wore t-shirts, he'd be called Sleeve Jobs.
Yes, he would. If Steve Jobs was Superman, he'd be Christopher Reeves Jobs.
Reeves Jobs. If he was a thief, he'd be Steve Robs.
Ooh.
If Steve Jobs had his own search engine, he'd be Ask Jeeves Jobs.
Oh.
Steve Jobs.
If Steve Jobs was cloud storage, he'd be called Steve Blobs.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Let's go with Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Vinny, we're going to give you the honors on this one.
Yeah, this is probably a bad one. If Elon Musk was a vampire, he'd be called Elon Dusk. Which he could be a vampire, we don't know.
If Elon Musk was a sea lion, he'd be Elon Tusk.
Oh.
If he was a corn farmer, he'd be Elon Husk.
Yes, he would. Well, we're going to keep it going. Let's go with Tim Cook. If Tim Cook were a pirate, he'd be Tim Hook.
If the last thing you saw before your spirit separated, it would be the Grim Cook. I don't know.
If Tim Cook had a second life, he'd be Sim Cook. Let's go with a new name. Let's go with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos.
Jeffrey.
If Jeff Bezos was really into Latin American culture, he'd be Jeff Bezos.
If he was really into Egyptian culture, he'd be Jeff Favros.
Awesome. Let's go with one of our own, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's go with our VP of delivery, Rob Wilson.
Oh.
Rob Wilson. Let's go with Rob.
If Rob Wilson was from Chicago, he'd be called Rob Pilson.
Straight out of Chicago.
Yeah.
If Rob Wilson gets incredibly angry with me, he starts thinking to become Job Wilsons.
Yeah, but in general, he's not an angry guy. He's more like a Rob Chilson.
Ooh. I like that.
If Rob Wilson was a hot dog connoisseur, he'd be Rob Dilson.
I like the motion you've got there.
And that concludes our time here. Yes. Oh, big round of applause for Vinny coming up with some funniest, Garthisms is what I'm gonna call it. Garthisms that we could come up with. Thank you, Vinny, for coming by and sharing everything that you could give us about being a senior solutions engineer. Really do appreciate your participation here. Those of you playing at home, if you want to find out more about Vinny, how can people find you? Can they find you anywhere?
Yeah. LinkedIn, Vincent Bolin.
Look for him on LinkedIn. You can also
That's really it, yeah.
go to BreakFreeSolutions.com,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you can find Vinny there at that.
Probably could find me there.
You also can find more things about what we do here at BreakFree on our YouTube channel. If you're liking what we're doing here with the breakdown, you can go to our YouTube channel. It is going to be in the description below and somewhere on this graphical interface of some sort, and you can find out more information about it.
Yeah, and since the topic was on, stories and all of that kind of stuff, I would be remiss if I was not to mention that BreakFree has a free sprint estimator. If you guys want to try it out, sprintestimator.breakfreesolutions.com. We like it a lot. We liked it so much we built it, so there you go.
So I've been Nelson today.
I have been and will continue to be Chris Lee.
I'll try to remain Vincent Bolin, I guess.
Yes, here. On behalf of all three of us, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you on the next episode of The Breakdown. See you later.